Hi, everyone. This is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today we're going to work on the vocabulary and sight word pictures for first grade journeys lesson 24. And our anchor text is "A tree is a plant." So for this lesson, we're going to turn and talk. That means I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to think about your answer. Then you're going to pair up with a partner, or you can be my virtual partner, and then you're going to share your thinking in a complete sentence or sentences. So for this lesson, you will need a pencil and a piece of paper or journal page. Then you're going to write your numbers 1 to 8. And for each number, you're going to write the vocabulary or sight word. And then at the end of the lesson, I'm going to challenge you to write your word up to 2 more times, 1 and 2. And the second time you write it, you can also draw a picture or quick sketch. So here's our first learning target. I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from the text. A tree is a plant. And here's our second learning target. I can talk about the important words and pictures from the story. Success criteria. That means how will you know you're successful at using pictures and context clues to understand the important words from "A tree is a plant"? And how will you know you're successful at talking about these important words? Well, here are your steps to success. I will. Number one, look closely at each pair of pictures. Number two, I will say what I notice or see. How are the pictures the same or similar? Turn and talk. Number three, I will read each word and its definition. Number four, I will write each word 2 or more times and or draw a picture for each. Let's go over our turn and talk rules. Number one, eye to eye and knee to knee. Make sure you are looking at the speaker if you have a partner at home. Number two, first one person talks, the other person listens. Number three, then the next person talks, the other person listens. But do not talk too long on your turn, or your partner will not have time to have a turn. I'm going to ask the same questions for each pair of pictures. What do you notice or see? And you're going to say, I notice or I see. Then I'm going to ask, how are they both the same or similar? And you're going to say, they both. And you may agree with me and say, I agree with you, Mrs. Pearson, because, and tell me why. Or I disagree. I disagree with you because, and tell me why. So here's our first two pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice a girl looks like she's getting ready for the day, brushing her teeth, brushing her hair, looking in the mirror. And in the next picture, I notice something similar. A girl is brushing her teeth, brushing her hair, putting on her shoes, getting her backpack. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both. Well, they both show ready. So number one is ready. 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 What does ready mean? Ready means to be able or prepared to do something. Ready is also used when something can be used now. So ready means to be able or prepared to do something. Ready is also used when something can be used now. Ready. A synonym or word that means the same or is similar is prepared. We are ready to pick apples. We are ready to pick apples. You could also say we are prepared to pick apples. How do I use it? The banana is yellow, so it is ready for you to eat. What will you do to be ready for second grade? You could also say, what will you do to be prepared for second grade? Next group of pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice a field with flowers and tree, and there's no buildings, and it looks like the country. And in the next picture, I notice again a big green field. I do notice one house or two houses, and some cows and some flowers. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both, well, they both show country. 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 The country can be wilderness or farmland that is away from cities and towns. Land in nature. The country can be wilderness or farmland that is away from cities and towns. Land in nature. So, a synonym or word that means the same as country could be wilderness, farmland, or nature. All are similar to the word country. We live in the country. We live in the country. You could also say, we live in nature, or we live in the wilderness, or we live in farmland. Or you could even say, we live in the forest, which is similar to country. How do I use it? My family moved from the city to the country. Would you rather live in the country or in the city? And why? You could also say, my family moved from the city to the wilderness, or my family moved from the city to the farm, or my family moved from the city to nature. Would you rather live in nature or in the city or in the would you rather live in the wilderness or on a farm or in the city, and why? Next group of pictures, what do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice some clay pots with some dirt or soil spilling out of them. And there are some plants growing out of the soil or the dirt. In the next picture, I notice a big pile of dirt or soil, probably used to help plants grow. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both, well, they both show soil. Soil, 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 soil. Soil is dirt in which plants can grow. Soil is dirt in which plants can grow. So a synonym or word that means the same is dirt. We planted the flowers in the soil. We planted the flowers in the soil. You could also say, we planted the flowers in the dirt. How do I use it? The garden has good soil, or the garden has good dirt. What would you like to grow in the soil and why? You could also say, what would you like to grow in the dirt and why? Next group of pictures, what do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice many different types or kinds of trees. I see flat leaf trees and fir trees. I see trees and skinny trees. I see wide trees. In the next picture, I notice many different types or kinds of pizza. I see pepperoni pizza. I see um, Hawaiian pizza. I see lots of different kinds of pizza or types of pizza. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both, well, they both show kinds, 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 kinds. Kinds means types of something. Kinds. Kinds means types of something. So a synonym or word that means the same is types. There are many kinds of butterflies here. There are many kinds of butterflies here. You could also say there are many types of butterflies here. How do I use it? Sharon has two favorite kinds of cookies. What kinds of music do you like to watch and why? Oh, I said that wrong. What kinds of movies do you like to watch and why? What kinds of movies do you like to watch and why? You could also say Sharon has two favorite types of cookies. What types of movies do you like to watch? Next group of pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice the earth. And on the earth, I see dirt or soil and things growing out of the earth. In the next picture, I notice someone digging in a garden in the dirt or earth. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both, well, they both show earth. Earth, 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 Earth. Earth. Another word for dirt or soil is earth. Another word for dirt or soil is earth. A synonym or word that means the same or is similar is dirt or soil. She covers the seeds with earth. She covers the seeds with earth. You could also say, she covers the seeds with soil, or she covers the seeds with dirt. How do I use it? The earth in the garden is very good for growing plants. What grows in the earth near your home? You could also say the soil in the garden is very good for growing plants. What grows in the soil near your home? Or what grows in the dirt near your home? Next group of pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I noticed two people finished the race, and one person, the third person, nearly finished the race or almost got to the end of the finish line. In the next picture, I notice a checklist, and most of the boxes are checked. So most of the things are almost done or nearly done. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both, Well, they both show almost. 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 Almost means not quite or nearly. Almost. Almost means not quite or nearly. A synonym or word that means the same could be nearly, like the man was near or almost close to the finish line. Apples are almost ripe. The apples are almost ripe. You could also say the apples are nearly ripe. How do I use it? I have read almost the whole book. How do you feel when you are almost finished with something? You could also say, I have read nearly the whole book. How do you feel when you are nearly finished with something? What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice bread, and on top of the bread is some jam or fruit spread, and it looks like they covered the toast with jam with the knife and they spread it over. In the next picture, I notice a tree and it is covered with snow, or there's snow all over the tree. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both. Well, they both show covers. Covers. The jam covers the toast or bread, and the snow covers the tree. Covers. 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 Covers means spread over the surface. Covers means spread over the surface. So a synonym or word that means the same is spread over. Pollen covers the bee. Pollen covers the bee. You could also say pollen is spread over the bee. How do I use it? It is so pretty when snow covers all the trees. What should you do when trash covers the road? Sorry, part of that sentence is gone. Or covers the street. You could also say, it is so pretty when snow is spread over all the trees. What should you do when trash is spread over or spread over the street or road? Last group of pictures. What do you notice or see? I notice or I see. Well, in the first picture, I notice the sun is shining down on the earth and keeping it warm with the sun rays. In the next picture, I notice a person is next to the warm fire and staying warm or getting warm. So, how are these pictures the same or similar? They both. Well, they both show warms. 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 Warms means heats up and making something hotter. Warms means heats up and making something hotter. So a synonym or word that means the same is heats Oven warms our apple pie. The oven warms our apple pie. So you could also say the oven heats our apple pie. The oven heats our apple pie. How do I use it? On cold mornings, my dad warms up the car before he drives us to school. What warms you on a cold day? You could also say, on a cold day, my dad warms up the car, or my dad heats up the car before he drives us to school. And what heats you up on a cold day? All right, it is time to check your work. Make sure you have all of these words written down and spelled correctly. Number one, ready. Ready means to be able or prepared to do something. Ready is also used when something can be used now. Ready. Number two, country. The country can be wilderness or farmland that is away from cities and towns. Land in nature. And if you notice, I highlighted some synonyms. So, number one, a synonym for ready is prepared. Number two, a synonym for country could be wilderness, farmland, or nature. Number three, soil. Soil is dirt in which plants can grow. Soil. Soil is dirt in which plants can grow. Four, kinds. Kinds means types of something. Kinds. And again, soil is the same as dirt, and kinds, the synonym for kinds is types. Number five, earth. Another word for dirt or soil is earth. Number six, almost. Almost means not quite or nearly. Number seven, covers. Covers means spread over the surface. Covers. Number eight, warms. Warms means heats up and making something hotter. Warms. At the top of your paper, I want you to reflect on your learning. I can use pictures and context clues to help me understand important words from the text. A tree is a plant. Would you give yourself a 4? I could teach this lesson. I easily said how each pair of pictures were the same. Or I was able to say how most of the picture pairs were the same. Or number two, I was able to say how some of the picture pairs were the same. Or number one, I was not able to say how any of the picture pairs were the same. So write your reflection on how well you met the learning target. 4, 3, 2, or 1. Now my challenge to you is to write your words up to 2 more times, and you can draw a picture for each. Thank you everyone for going over the sight words and vocabulary pictures for lesson 24, A Tree is a Plant. Have a great day.